All right, welcome back, everybody. Had the joy of running the first annual run and gun at the Riverbend Gun Club last weekend. I'm going to try to keep the commentary short. I do have a little script here I'll follow because I want to go through these 8 items in kind of order, just so I can give credit to where it's due. First thing I want to do is make sure that I thank the folks at Riverbend Gun Club for allowing us to do this. It wouldn't have happened without them. All the folks there. You know, it was an early morning. Saturday I got up, the ROs ran on Friday, and you know, we got there pretty early. The parking lot started filling up. So all the folks, both the batch director, the ROs, I'll talk about them in a minute, and then the Riverbend Gun Club staff that showed up to make all this happen. So first, a huge shout out to the folks at Riverbend for allowing this to happen. The next person that I'll recognize, of course, is the match director, and that's Bruce Perry. Bruce, you put on an amazing match. Thank you very much. We're all extremely happy with everything that went on. It was a beautiful day. I know you couldn't control the weather, but you probably had something to do with it in some way, shape, or fashion. So as we go through this, and anybody that's watching this or was part of this or is going to come out and do it in the future, Bruce, you're the man. Thanks very much. The next folks that I want to kind of recognize are the ROs. A lot of times I RO these matches, and it's a great time, but there's a lot of work that goes into this, both from the match director side of the house all the way to the ROs, the folks that volunteer to come out and actually work the stages, help Bruce with setup, all that kind of stuff. It cannot be done without you guys. So, you know, this time I wasn't able to make it on Friday. So I had to show up and run with the competitors on Saturday, which was a little bit different for me, but it was also an amazing time to come through and see my brothers and sisters that I normally see the day prior running with me. A little bit of a lonely day where we work out some kinks, things of that nature, and you know, but today I got to come out and just show up as one of the regular competitors on Saturday and make it happen. So the next thing that I'll do is I'm going to run down real quick the other folks that make this happen. That's our sponsors. All right, without the sponsors to come out here and actually give their time, their gear, of course, which was great for the prize table and all that kind of stuff, again, it's not going to happen without them. So I'll start in order and I'll read from the top. T.A.B gear, they're the makers of the T.A.B Biathlon Sling, which I'll show you here in a minute because I actually run one of these quite a bit. Night Force Optics made it out, fantastic. Thunder Beast arms. All right, JC Steel targets, got some of those. Thanks, JC. So the Cherokee Gun and Pawn, local gun shop in the Dawsonville area. We had Grisham and Poole, attorneys at law. The shirt design was done by CB Graphics, and you're going to see a theme of a lot of photography throughout my commentary here. I want to give photo credit to Lisa Stinnett and everything that she does. Thank you so much for taking the pictures. Everybody appreciates it. You did an amazing job, just like you have in the past. Thanks again. So now we give them kind of the credit to where it's due. The very first thing I'll move into is the course itself. Like I said earlier, the match director, the ROs, and everybody that gets out there, they put a lot of work into making sure that this thing is marked appropriately. The course, as you can see right here, with signs like you see, this isn't going to happen with all that work. So the course was amazing. It was 5K. It was an awesome course. I had a great time running it. What you'll see there is, you know, there was quite a bit of, you know, setup to be done. You see some of the pictures that I'm putting up here when it comes to the different shooting stages, all the stuff that went behind setting it up. We had everything from short range shooting with pistol and rifle all the way out to some long range shooting. Lots of obstacles. You'll see some more pictures of that when I talk about the runners in a minute. They were great obstacles, and I even had a chance to exercise some of my ninja breaching techniques. Wow. So you'll see that in my GoPro video here in a minute, and it was a great time. I even put sound effects in it for you guys. So the next thing I want to talk about real quick is the folks that come out and make this happen, which the ROs, the directors, and everybody else couldn't make this happen without the runners, shooters, and the folks that come out. I've seen a common theme here. I want to kind of recognize something first when it comes to the runners and the shooters, and that's what I've seen lately in kind of the last 2 or 3 matches. A lot more folks are showing up, families. We're seeing kids joining in, and you'll see the level of training that these kids have gone through, and with their parents running alongside them. This stuff is amazing. You may have seen when I did the after action for the Bluegrass. I got to run with one of my good friend Rusty Trumbull's son Ben. You'll see that throughout this match. There were fathers out there running with daughters, with sons, you know, husbands and wives running together as a team. And then when we talk about the teams and the folks that are running, we saw some guys out there that were making this happen. We saw some interesting characters out there. We had Hill show up wearing a kilt. God bless you, Hill. All right, we had some Mohicans out there, some guys with some really interesting haircuts and dealing with a lot of pain. So, but some new guys that showed up, and one of the really kind of interesting things when it comes to the runners that show up there is some of these guys that show us. We had a crew of guys show up, and we're going to call them the Kalashnikov cosplay crew. And these guys, they had great spirits, showed up, very first running gun they ever did, showed up, ran all of their AKs and things of that nature. Had a little difficult time on the 600, but that's okay, it's an AK. So, but they came out dressed in spirit, everything. Real quick here, you see this drone video that's being flown. I want to give real credit to Dave Norcross. Came out and ran the drone around the obstacle and some of the other pieces of the course. And so you'll see here, he even caught the Kalashnikov crew doing a little dance at the end. So it's kind of funny, but it's also great. And these kids' spirit, it was amazing. So without further ado, real quick, I'll go over what gear I ran for it, and then I'll just jump right straight into my GoPro video. For the rifle, I ran the SIG MCX this time. It's got a Trigicon ACOG on top, and it did great. I didn't run this sling for this gun, like I mentioned earlier when it comes to our sponsors. I ran the T.A.B. Biathlon sling. I've run this for several running guns. You'll see it in some of my pictures. Like I showed you earlier, and how this thing works, it makes it capable of actually wearing the gun like a backpack. So that's a great piece of gear. I recommend it to anybody that's doing any of this kind of stuff. The next piece that I ran the Smith & Wesson M&P with a long slide on it. It did great. I'm loving this pistol. It's got it's the Gen 2, so it's got the Gen 2 trigger in it. It does really, really well. For battle belt, I guess this time I went with a minimalist setup. I ran the inner Velcro in the belt loops, Safariland holster for the M&P, and on this side I ran 3 magazines of 3 magazines for the rifle and then 3 magazines for the pistol. And these are HSGI taco pouches. They did really, really good. So it was really light, even with the ammo loaded into it. It felt like I didn't have anything on. And of course, I ran with my trusty GoPro, as you're going to see here in a minute, on my 511 hat. And it did really well, especially for this match. And just a simple set of mechanics gloves. I like wearing gloves while I do these things, especially with all the obstacles. So, like I said before, it was a great match. And I hope you guys enjoy the GoPro video. I'm giving a lot of credit to all the folks that made this happen. Again, thank you, Bruce. Thank you, ROs. Thank you, sponsors. Thank you, everybody. So here goes. Scene. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Good luck.
Tiger while you're under there.
Say again?
Shout out to Tiger while you're under there.
I feel like Catherine Zeta-Jones.
You don't look like Catherine Zeta.
Hello, liar.
Come on through, run it out, man. Unload, show clear.
Stand by. Hit! 600. Hit! 68.
Good job, big guy.
Okay, unload, show clear.
Tree 944.
Thank you again, sir.
Knife hands.
Yes, that's right. I hope that was on high speed scope. That Jimmy Nutt.
This is your start point.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Shooter's ready.
Stand by.
Is it 2E or one head?
One head, 2A zone.
Get it, Jimmy! You got it, boy! Almost there! Almost there! Woo!
Yeah!
Alrighty, I hope everybody enjoyed the video. I'm going to say goodbye for now. The ceremony, everything that happened after the run, it was fantastic. It's always a great group of people. I love seeing my friends that show up there, my families and everybody that does it. Before I leave, I'm going to do a plug for Riverbend and for Bruce. If you guys didn't know, in the gun community, Riverbend Gun Club is a home of the only U.S. FAL match that's held. So if you are a fan of the FNFAL, you know, rifle like this, Bruce this September will be hosting the FAL match. You can either run irons like you saw with my Argentine, or you can run optics, and he'll run an action stage, and he'll also run an accuracy stage. And it's September this year. If you own a FAL and you've never been to the match, you're wrong, okay? If you own a FAL and you have been to the match before, hope to see you there again. If you don't own an FAL and you've never been to the match, either one of those two things, you're even more wrong. So get yourself an FAL, show up to the match, and you guys will have a great time. A lot of the same folks you'll see on these running guns are there, and I hope to welcome you to the FAL community. That's it. That's all I got for you guys. Thanks very much. Out.